Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Radha Nata Radha Radha Nata Radhe. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So our topic for today is actually endeavoring with confidence, and we're reading text number 3 from the Nectar of Instruction. I don't know if you have it with you, then you can repeat. Yeah. So I'll just read it once and then we can repeat. Utsahan nishchayat taryat tat tat karma pravartanat sangat jagat sato vrite satbir bhakti prasidhyati. Utsahan nishchayat taryat tat tat karma pravartanat sangat jagat sato vrite sadbir bhakti prasidhyati. Utsahan nishchayat taryat tat tat karma pravartanat sangat jagat sato vrite sadbir bhakti prasidhyati. Utsahan nishchayat taryat tat tat karma pravartanat sango jagat sato vrite sadbir bhakti prasidhyati. Utsahan nishchayat taryat tat tat karma pravartanat sangat jagat sato vrite sadbir bhakti prasidhyati. Okay. Utsahat, by enthusiasm. Nishchayat, by confidence. Dharyat, by patience. Tat tat karma, various activities favorable for devotional service. Pravartanat, by performing. Sangatyagat, by giving up the association of non-devotees. Sata, of the great previous acharyas. Rite, by following in the footsteps. Sadbi, by these 6. Bhakti, devotional service. Prasidyati, advances or becomes successful. Translation. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. 1. Being enthusiastic. 2. Endeavoring with confidence. 3. Being patient. 4. Acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. 5. Abandoning the association of non-devotees. And 6. Following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuramalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapatantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapara Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Chaitanya Charanam Puja Makarandali Hopaje Yesham Prasada Matrena Pamaro Pyamaro Bhavit Pangam Langayate Shelam Mukam Avartayet Shrutim Yat Kripatam Aham Vande Krishna Chaitanyam Ishvaram. Hare Krishna. So the last time my Guru Maharaj was here, I was asking him, how is it that we develop the adhikari or the qualification in order to be able to follow in the footsteps of our spiritual masters? What is the secret? I didn't ask that second part, but that's what I was alluding to. And my Guru Maharaj explained these 3 things are needed: patience, enthusiasm, and confidence. And I thought it was ironic that I was asked to speak about this because those are the qualities I lack. So Krishna is giving me a chance to read more about them and understand how to develop them. So I'll read the translation again, and then we'll go through the purport with a special focus on endeavoring with confidence. So the translation is, there are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. 1. Being enthusiastic. 2. Endeavoring with confidence. 3. Being patient. 4. Acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. 5. Abandoning the association of non-devotees. And 6. Following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So, Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Its substance is practical activity. So he says it's not just a matter of idly sitting and meditating somewhere and not engaging in any kind of activity. And that kind of meditation may be helpful for someone who doesn't understand the process of bhakti yoga or devotional service, but rather the process of devotional service, although it is allowing us to stop all these nonsensical activities, which is the purpose of meditation, it is also giving us activities to do, something to do for the Lord. It's about a cultivation. And those activities are given to us by Sri Prahlad Maharaj, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, starting there, the 9 processes of devotional service. But then Srila Prabhupada also explains that the way in which we can really understand how to go about executing these 9 processes of devotional service is by approaching someone who can guide us. And then he gives the verse, Tatpiri pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya parikshanti te jnanam jnaninas tatvadarshina. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. So we're reading that if we follow these certain principles, then it's guaranteed we will actually achieve pure devotional service. It says undoubtedly, these 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So we want to try and endeavor with this confidence that this process does work. If we follow these principles, we actually will receive this ultimate goal of life. But then, on the other hand, Bhakti Devi, the way she appears in our hearts, it's described as being a very mysterious process. And while on the one hand, endeavoring to please the Lord inspires Bhakti Devi to appear in our hearts, on the other hand, we will also read that Bhakti Devi is independent. So she is independent from our birth situation. We're all born in different kinds of families, but she's actually independent to that circumstance in which we were coming from. She's independent even to our knowledge on Shastra. She doesn't depend on that either. And she's also independent to our endeavor. So we're asked to endeavor with confidence, but she's independent to that. So what is it actually that inspires her to appear within our hearts? Because then we could spend millions of lives just trying and never actually receive this gift of Krishna Prema. So what is it that actually inspires her to appear within our hearts? And there's this verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 8, text 70. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Matiha Kriyatam Adikutapi Labhyate Tatra Lolyam Api Mulyam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukritirna Labhyate. Pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be had even by pious activity in hundreds and thousands of lives. It can be attained only by paying one price, that is, intense greed to obtain it. If it is available somewhere, one must purchase it without delay. So the pious activity, we hear about agyata sukriti. So we're all here practicing devotional service. Because in our previous birth, or at least in this life, we have done some unknowing pious activity, and the pious activity is devotional service. We have engaged in devotional service somewhere within our thousands of lives. Somewhere before we have at least done that. But we could be doing that for many, many births. But what is it? The answer is here. What is it that actually gets us to take that next step, or that allows us to receive the mercy that inspires Bhakti Devi? It can be attained only by paying one price, that is intense greed to obtain it. So how is it that we purchase Bhakti? How do we inspire her to appear in our hearts? It's that intense greed. And that intense greed, so there is the endeavor, but that endeavor must be with that patience and confidence. And the patience and confidence with which we endeavor will be dependent on our desire to obtain it, to obtain the goal of life, Krishna Prema, or even just to serve Krishna and his devotees. And just the point on enthusiasm, so we want to endeavor with patience, confidence, and enthusiasm. Patience means also, my Guru Maharaj explained, to be tolerant, to tolerate. And there's so much to tolerate, isn't there? And confidence means to know that this process does work. And then enthusiasm. How much enthusiasm does a materialist give to his career? He will spend all day and all night with so much determination and focus trying to get that 1 million rand, or I don't even know how much people aspire for, but whatever it is, they're giving all of their enthusiasm and everything they can to this process of acquiring material satisfaction. So can we really claim to be giving the same amount of attention and determination to our sadhana, to our japa? And the process of devotional service is about developing relationship with the Lord and his devotees, and all relationship requires enthusiasm. So it's required for us to try to keep our enthusiasm for serving the Lord and his devotees. And the Nectar Instruction defines enthusiasm as being endeavor executed with intelligence. Shri Shri Radharanath ki jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called utsaha, enthusiasm. So it's with intelligence. It's not just dancing nicely in kirtan. It's more than that. It's with intelligence. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that enthusiasm is the essence of spirituality, and it's opposite to being inertia. So if we look at the mat on the floor, he doesn't particularly feel inclined to get up and go somewhere to serve the Lord. He's inert, although he is the energy of the Lord, but we can just to see the difference between inertia versus enthusiasm. If you're enthusiastic, you want to do something for the Lord. You feel inspired. But if you're inert, you don't experience that. You don't experience the need to want to serve, or even the want to need to serve. And enthusiasm means wanting to follow the 9 processes of devotional service, starting with hearing and chanting, which was mentioned, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, and following the rules and regulations of devotional service. So then there's Yama and Niyama, described here in the Nectar Instruction. Yama would be the prohibitions, the 4 the 4 prohibitions: no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication. But there's also niyama, which means chanting a minimum of 16 rounds every day, rising early in the morning. And this yama and niyama, they're sadachara, the things that we can do and the things that we can avoid in order to progress. But then leading to a second question, which is a part of the verse that we read, that if it is available somewhere, so if we have this intense greed and we're endeavoring with confidence and with enthusiasm and patience, where do we get it? If it is available somewhere, one must purchase it without delay. Where do we get bhakti from? Is there a store somewhere that we can go with all our enthusiasm and ask the teller, please, I have enthusiasm and I want to purchase this bhakti, give it to me, please? Where do we get it from? And there's this verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 7, text 24. Although the members of the Panchatattva plundered the storehouse of love of Godhead and ate and distributed its contents, there was no scarcity, for this wonderful storehouse is so complete that as the love is distributed, the supply increases hundreds of times. So Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda and his associates, they broke open the storehouse of love of Godhead and they're distributing the contents. So that's where we're getting it from Krishna, but in the mood of a devotee. Bhakti actually comes from a devotee. And that's why we're reading the verse Tatvidi Pranipatina, that we have to inquire from the spiritual master, from a devotee who is self-realized, and from him, from a person who has bhakti, then bhakti comes to us. So if we are following the rules and regulations very nicely and very strictly, then what we can give to others is faith in the process. But if someone is actually chanting the holy names in ecstasy, they can give taste to someone else. And if someone actually is chanting with love, they can give love to someone else, love for Krishna. And there's this bhajan by Lochana Das Thakur, who was a great devotee of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, our Sampradaya. And he's requesting in the bhajan, my dear brothers, I request you, just you worship Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda with firm conviction and faith. And Srila Prabhupada said about this that don't think that this chanting and dancing will not lead you to the desired goal. It will, because there is assurance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that you will get all perfection by this process. So we can't really expect to please Lord Krishna in this age of Kali Yuga without first pleasing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's through him, in his mood of being a devotee, that we actually can get Krishna's mercy. And then how is it that we approach Lord Chaitanya? It's through his devotee. And then there's this verse given in the Nectar of instruction that Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bij. And Prabhupada explains that according to their karma, all living entities are wandering throughout the entire universe. Some of them are being elevated to the upper planetary systems, and some are going down into the lower planetary systems. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. By the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the kripa of devotional service. So for thousands and thousands and thousands of lives, we've been wandering from one place to the next in the material world, and it's such a great and rare opportunity. It's a gem to receive this opportunity to actually chant the Lord's holy name in the association of the devotees. It's such a rare opportunity to meet with devotees who actually do love Krishna. And how do we identify someone who loves Krishna? Well, there is one verse. There's so much to be said about the qualities of such a person, but at least we can see this in text 10, chapter 10, text 9 in the Bhagavad Gita, that Machita Matkata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayantaschamam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So such a devotee, he's free from criticism. He doesn't criticize, and he desires only to serve and glorify the Lord and his devotees. And really he's an ocean of good qualities, because all good qualities come to a devotee who is constantly engaged in hearing and chanting about the Lord. So that's one way to identify a person who has developed a relationship with the Lord. And the nature of Bhakti Devi, because she is seated within the heart of such a devotee. The nature of Bhakti Devi is that she wants to be shared. So the compassion of Bhakti Devi will be manifested within the life of that devotee as well, that they'll want to share the bhakti, they'll want to share Krishna with others. And their sharing, well, it depends on our receptivity, how we will receive their sharing. Although they want to give, but we have to make sure that we're carefully cultivating what we have already been given. So there's the Bhakti Lata Bij, it's a seed of devotional service, and then from there is coming the creeper, and then we have to be careful to guard that creeper. We have to really take care of that creeper and water it properly with the 9 processes of devotional service, but also protect it from weeds. We have to keep it safe and protect it. So just to summarize that part, that bhakti, it's so rare, and if we can find it somewhere, we must purchase it without delay. But how do we do that? It's only with greed, with intense endeavor and confidence, that this process does work, and I'm going to try my best to actually please the Lord through this process. But it must be under the guidance of someone who can actually help me to do that. Because where do we get it from? Where does bhakti come from? It comes from the heart of a pure devotee. And then in the Adi Purana, Krishna explains to Arjuna that, my dear Partha, one who claims to be my devotee is not so. Only a person who claims to be the devotee of my devotee is actually my devotee. So Krishna, he's actually more pleased when we serve his devotee than when we try to serve him directly. So that's another way we can inspire the mercy to come to us. And the mercy will be evident in our hearts if we are able to always remember Krishna and never forget him, because that's really why are we doing everything that we're doing? It's to always remember Krishna and never forget him. The purpose behind all the rules and regulations is just that. That's given to us in the Nectar of Devotion. And whatever we can do to try and always remember him is never forgotten by the Lord. Never forgotten. Krishna never forgets even a small service that we can offer to him. You can see the last 2 verses of Sri Upanishad which explain that. And Srila Prabhupada then ends his purport with the verse, Nehapikrama nashasti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. And I wanted to tell a small encounter that Mala Mataji was telling. So she was traveling with Kirti Rani Mataji. They were going they were traveling in Kazakhstan, and just as they were about to go into the plane, and their trip wasn't actually very long, but the devotees wanted to give them lots of prasadam, so they gave them a lot of really nice prasadam. And they were sitting on a plane next to someone who seemed really grumpy and really upset. And they tried to offer him prasadam, and he refused. He said, "No, I don't want it, thank you." And then when the air hostess came to the man, he explained that actually I'm vegetarian, so I don't want anything from the plane, thanks. And then, Malika, she was so pleased to hear that, oh, he's vegetarian, so maybe he will like the prasadam after all. So she explains that, actually this is vegetarian, so I think you might like some. And then he suddenly burst out with this emotion and expressed himself that, actually, I used to be a pujari, and I know about your movement, and I knew that as soon as I saw you, I knew that Krishna would make you sit next to me, because he does things like this all the time. That I was a pujari and I gave it up because there was some problem between me and another devotee. So I gave up, and I've been working since then. But I was at this work conference and they weren't serving anything vegetarian, so I've been living off of tomatoes for the past few days, and I'm so hungry. And Krishna is so kind to me that he sent you with lots of prasadam, and he knew that you'd be sitting next to me, and then I would be getting all this prasadam, that he's carrying to me whatever I need, whenever I need it, even though I have tried to forget about him. And then he started crying, and he explained that even though I've tried to forget about him, Krishna never forgot about me, and he's always trying to bring me back, and he's always taking care of me, even though I tried to turn my face away from him. So this is Krishna, this is the nature of Krishna, and through his devotees, he will never forget us, and he will always be taking care of us. My Guru Maharaj said that anyone who comes to Krishna consciousness is good, and Krishna takes care of that person until they're back. So he's actually crying for us to come back. He's crying for us to come back. But can we claim to cry for him? Are we crying to go back? And if we can't cry to go back, then we can cry that we can't cry, that we can't cry to not even go back, but just to serve him, to actually chant his names properly and serve his devotees with actual love. And the more that we are able to actually cry for Krishna, the more we will experience that Madhura Madurebhyopi Mangalebhyopi Mangalam Pavanam Pavanebhyopi Harirnameva Kevalam. More sweet than all other sweet things, more auspicious than all other auspicious things, and more purifying than all other purifying things. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. So I'll end there for today, and if there are any comments, questions or corrections, please go ahead.
Yesterday, a Vaishnava was speaking. He said Maharada is spiritual energy, Lakshmi is another meaning for money, Durga is inferior material energy. He is incorrect. Maharada, Sanskrit names, include the lotus Lakshmi, Rukmani, Sutyabhama, but also Durga, Ambika, Kali, she who is ignorance, but she who also rises above ignorance. In the Kali Stotram, Mahakali's Sanskrit names include Maharada, Devaki, she who gives birth to divinity, Mahamari, Mahamari, she who is the great destroyer. Have some verses to read. From the Skanda Purana, it says, to honor our Maharada. Sada Lakshmir Mahakali, Mahalakshmi Namostute, Sadyo Jata Dadi, Panchagni Rupa Panchaka Panchakam. Salutations to Lakshmi, who gives powers, the great Kali, great Lakshmi. She who is 5 faces of Shiva, and she who is 5 times 5. Jaga Lakshmi Jagan Matar Vishnu Patni Namostute Navakoti Mahashakti Samupasya Padam Bhuje. Salutations to Mahalakshmi, who is the universe, mother of the universe and wife of Vishnu, and one whose lotus-like feet are worshipped by 10 million great Shaktis. Next, lastly, Sarva Mangala Mangalye Shive Sarvata Sadyake Saranye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. O Goddess who is the giver of auspicious things, O consort of Shiva, O fulfiller of all wishes, who is fit to be surrendered to, who is the mother of 3 eyes, O Goddess who is white, O Narayani, we salute you. Hari Bol.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, so Srimati Radharani is the internal pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything and everyone emanates. And Srimati Radharani is the Shtadini potency of the Lord. She is the divine feminine quality of the Lord. And Lakshmi Devi, the position of Lakshmi Devi shouldn't be undermined at all, that she is actually coming from Srimati Radharani herself. And Krishna is in his expansion as Lord Vishnu, is always with his divine consort, Shri Lakshmi Devi. And Lakshmi Devi, we can define her as being wealth. That's our understanding of her. But wealth is more than just money as well. It's all good qualities, and those good qualities are coming from Srimati Radharani and then coming from Lakshmi Devi, who is the expansion of Srimati Radharani. So Krishna, whenever he expands himself or appears in any form, he always goes with his divine consort, Srimati Radharani, who is the greatest devotee ever. And so Lakshmi Devi definitely has a very special position, and although we can see her as being money, she's a lot more than money. Yes. So thank you for bringing that point up. Was there anything else there that we could... Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Is there anything else? Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for that wonderful class. I came to the latter part of the class, but it was beautiful. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Oh, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Is there anything else? Okay. Shri Shri Radharanath ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Bol.